We can cut that cough out. Oh, God, we're dying of cough.
It's a COVID cough,
We're dying of cough, man.
BODGAST. BODGAST.
What's up, Vibers? Welcome to episode 3 of the BODGAST. My name is Dr. Fresh, aka Formatty Fresh, and today's podcast is proudly brought to you by the team at Nexus. Woohoo. You'll find them here on Bridge Street, Teokotai. They're open 7 days a week. Come and check them out for lunch, brunch, or just a munch. Yeah, that was pretty good on there. You like that one, Frank?
Not bad, not bad.
All right, episode 3, special guest for today's podcast is a man who has, well, in my opinion, just about done everything there is to do in life. And at the moment, he is currently the General Manager of TCOS, Teokotai Council of Social Services, Tokoroa, and is a current councillor for the South Waikato District. His name is Mr. Josiah Teokotai, and I must also mention he is the Deputy Chair of the Te Reo Irirangi o Raukawa, aka Raukawa Vibes BOT. Let's welcome him to episode 3 of the podcast, my man, Mr. Josiah Teokotai.
Well, what a privilege to be here with a doctor, Dr. Love, aka Dr. Fresh. Bro, I'm honoured to be here sitting with you.
I must say, brother,
at Nexus.
At Nexus. Proud sponsors, episode 3. Brother, awesome to have you here. I know we're going to initially catch up with you last year when you got onto the South Waikato District Council as a councillor, but hey, we're here in 2023. Brother, how you been, bro? How was Christmas and New Year's?
Fantastic. Had an awesome time. Went to the beach, Papamoa, when it wasn't raining. Went with the kids and the family. We were over there. So, yeah, had a really good time. Lovely. Awesome.
We're here, like we mentioned, at Nexus. We're about to get some milkshakes. What are you, a vanilla milkshake, I understand?
Yeah, I'm a vanilla. One day, my cousin surprised me with a vanilla milkshake when I was about 20. Ever since then,
Vanilla.
only vanilla.
I must say, because I'm a lime, so actually I love spearmint, but not too many people have spearmint milkshakes, so I'll settle for lime. But it's funny how you mention vanilla, because I was never a big fan of vanilla tip-top ice cream, but vanilla tip-top ice cream is really nice, bro. There's something about vanilla. It's like the binder and everything, you know. When you want to sort of make something feel good, taste good, you sort of add the vanilla ice cream in there or the vanilla shake. So,
I've
can go with that.
always been a vanilla ice cream guy. My wife thinks it's too plain, but
So does she?
I like the vanilla.
Does she pour it on you to give it a bit of spice and a bit of flavour?
No.
You're still into the chocolate sauce then?
No, I'm not a chocolate sauce guy. Just a plain vanilla with fruit salad. That's me. That's all
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
I love it, brother. I love it. All right, bro. So to the millions and millions of people who'll be watching this podcast, episode 3, proudly sponsored by Nexus. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, brother. Where were you born?
Well, born in the one and only maternity wing at Tokoroa Hospital, which has now been taken down. Born here in Tokoroa.
Right. What did you enjoy as a young fella? Can you remember that far back? Like, I suppose, you know, what did you enjoy doing? Because the days back then are very different to how they are now. What did you enjoy as a young kid growing up, Jay?
Yeah, really different. We had softball back in our day. We could go down to Matarawa Park, and I think every Saturday we'd play softball with our mates at primary school, then into intermediate. We had a good competition too, and there was a senior competition that was running for a few years there. So that was, one of the differences that, sports were a lot. It was a lot more alive.
Yep.
That touch, which was like 2 days a week here in the South Waikato and Tokoroa. Patararu had a strong module as well. So yeah, touch was a big thing back in our day growing up. Basketball, a lot bigger now, but back then we just had our own little games and up at the chapel. At school, every lunchtime. Yeah.
Where was the Teokotai homestead?
Off Kiruru. Yeah, up there, Balmoral side or Tainui side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mean. Everyone, it's funny, everyone a lot of people have kept their homestead or are still in their homestead. Do you have the same neighbours around you these days than back then, or has it changed a little bit on the streets? Or?
Yeah, actually we do have the same families who live in as next door neighbours, but yeah, mostly, no, they've changed. They've changed over the years. I think we're the longest standing with our neighbours who've been there for years. But the other thing back then was Balmoral School was still running, but now it's the Kurakopa or Te Herenga.
I must say too, because back then, what I remember, Balmoral was a pretty strong school. You know, Balmoral Primary School with all sports, athletics. You had some pretty fast runners come out of that school.
Yeah. So it was actually before Cargill School came along.
Yep.
And then once Balmoral was up and running and then Cargill came along, half of our school separated.
Wow.
And the pupils who were closer living to Cargill would go to Cargill.
So to me, where'd you go? Did you go Tainui or did you go Tokoroa Intermediate?
Tainui is close to home, yeah.
Yep.
But also a big part of my life growing up was St. Luke's PIC.
Yep.
And so pretty much 5 days a week we were at the church. So Boys Brigade was huge for us. So like I was 4 when I started going, and then right up until I left to go to boarding school at 12, yeah.
Wow. It's funny you mentioned Boys Brigade, because I remember growing up too. In Pathfinders as a 10, 11, 12-year-old, Boys Brigade, Pathfinders, there was that rivalry, SDA, PIC. I suppose a rivalry that's died away over the years after, everyone started intermingling and having kids with each other and all that sort of carry on. It's sort of changed over the years. But, no, they're good days, bro. They're good days. And, very different to, the days today. Tainui School, where did you end up? Tokoroa High School?
So from Tainui, I went to Mount Albert Grammar.
How did that come about?
One of our cousins who was at Mount Albert, I think it was the year he was head prefect, so that was my first year at Mags, and he said, come up to Mount Albert Grammar. So my cousin and I, from Tainui, we went up to Mags, and it was a bit of a social experiment for me, because not only did I have Pacific people, but it was a different society there.
Definitely.
A different mix of people.
And I suppose back in those days, Mags has always been a pretty strong school. They would have had a, bit of hype about it too back in those days.
Oh, we had a strong First 15 for a number of years throughout that decade. Basketball, volleyball. There's just so many opportunities out there for sporting opportunities. Yeah.
How'd you end up back home? How did that come about? Because when did you come back? I think.
Yeah.
Was it sixth form? Was it sixth form?
That was like 30 years ago.
Yeah. Because I think I was third form, and I remember you as a sixth former. I'm pretty sure it was sixth former, but back in those days, Tokai's first 15 was pretty good.
Yeah. I think.
Or was it fifth form? I'm not sure.
There was a choice to go and do my senior schooling at Mags or come back, but it was a big shift from in the school, because we were in the senior grade. So we just chose just to come back, and I think I really enjoyed my time coming back to Tokoroa.
Yeah. Talking about that time, was it different coming back, or did you just fit back in? Because, you know, the brotherhood, the boys, how was that like for you? Like you just mentioned you enjoyed it. That would have been a pretty cool senior time for you.
Yeah, from what I remember, and I don't remember much for those years. um, just having good times with friends. Yeah, having good times with friends and family, and we'd had some real good times. So yeah,
Harder. Oh,
and play. I think I played my first year of Premier League for Pacific Sharks when I was. I think my first game. Sorry, I think it was like 16. Yeah. So that was awesome. Awesome times.
Yeah, awesome times. All right, bro. Let's talk a little bit about your parents, mum and dad. Where are they? Where are they birthed from?
Yep. So my dad's he was born in Aitutaki in the Cook Islands, and his family, his dad's family are the Nicholas family. So that if you know about the Nicholas family, we whakapapa right back to Tauranga Moana.
Yep.
And so we're one of the only Cook Island families that has whakapapa back to Aotearoa. My mum's whānau are from the northern group of the Cook Islands, but you know, like many Cook Island families, they have whakapapa back to Tahiti, to Samoa, to a whole lot of different places. So yeah. But mum primarily, she was born in Rakahanga in the Cook Islands. Yeah.
Man, have you been back to Rakahanga?
No. I know there's a few people from Tokoroa there at the moment.
Hey?
Yeah.
Because that's still one of many places you have to go to on a boat, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
and
can't fly
I hear
there.
it's 5 days on a boat, something like that, or is it gone quicker?
You can get to Manahiki on the boat and then take another boat to Rakahanga. You can fly to Manahiki and take a boat to Rakahanga. Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I could do that. I've heard a few boat stories from the Te Amo boys.
Yep. Been on the boat. I think I was about 7 or 8 when I went on the boat, and I thought it was boring, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you could do monies off the boat either in the middle of the ocean, eh? Not recommended.
No. It's not a boat, it's a ship.
Oh, love it, bro, love it. All right, brother, tell us about your family. You're married, obviously.
Yep. Married to my beautiful wife. I think I met my wife in Form 2 at Tainui Intermediate.
Wow.
We haven't been together, well, we have been on and off, but mostly on for the last 30 years. I think we got married in 1999. We were together for maybe 10 years before that. Lived in Auckland.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got married just before the world was going to come to an end?
That's right,
Eh?
yeah. And
Just before the turn of the millennium? Wow, bro. I like it.
That's why we got married.
Hey, and obviously she takes good care of you, brother?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've brought up our 6 kids mainly here in Tokoroa. And yeah, we love Tokoroa. We don't even think we're going to shift away from here. But yeah, our kids were all born here.
All right, 6 kids, brother.
Born in Hamilton.
Waikato.
From
we'll go with that. Yeah, harder. 6 kids. What do all your kids do, bro?
So my eldest is here. She came back from Melbourne after COVID, and she's working she's going to study next year. Yeah, she's going to study. But she was working down at the Impact Hub. Yeah. Now, who's next? It's hard when you've got so many kids. So 2 of my daughters are currently working for me before they go to study. My youngest son is, and I've got 5 daughters and 1 son, and he's in his last year at Hamilton Boys High School.
Wow. That's awesome. 5 girls, 1 boy. You must be pretty spoiled, huh?
They must be pretty spoiled.
Love it, bro. I love it. So you mentioned 2 of your girls working for you. So we brought that up in the intro. What's your current role, brother?
Yep, so I'm the General Manager at Tokoroa Council of Social Services. We primarily work with tamariki and their whānau. And so, yeah, our business is social services. Yeah.
Bro, social services. I mean, obviously we're doing this podcast, episode 3, brought to you by Nexus, on the back of the news that Jacinda Ardern is throwing in the towel, moving on with life, getting married and being a mum.
Yep.
You know, I've got nothing but, you know, awesome things to say for her with what we've just come through. And I suppose with you being General Manager of Teokotai Council of Social Services, man, the last 3 years must have been something out of this world, brother.
Yeah, totally different to what we used to. The priorities just shifted, though. They didn't really... all the issues around social services or social working with whānau is the same, except you got to be careful with COVID. So I think the issues just kind of took a sidestep and became different issues.
Yep.
Yeah. But all the, you know, it's about supporting whānau, supporting tamariki for us.
What are some of the challenges as a general manager you've encountered, brother?
Mental health, people with mental issues, mental health issues, trying to support them as best we can without making them feel like they're special cases, like they're not ordinary people. So, you know, it's really hard sometimes to work with whānau who don't necessarily need a handout, they need a hand up.
Awesome. What's your current staff like? You got some interesting characters on your team up there?
Our staff are full of aroha, and sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really hard. So our staff are really good. I love going to work in the morning. I love having some real deep conversations around how we can support our community.
If you could step out of your current role today, bro, and step into another job, and you could choose whatever that job would be, what would you choose, bro?
Probably an investment banker or something that's going to make me billions of dollars.
Why not, eh? Why not, you know? That's what some people seem to be doing these days.
Yeah.
Bro, let's talk about some of the other things you're involved with. You're heavily involved with sport, obviously being a sports person growing up and playing footy, playing league. You've been involved with basketball and a few other sports, rugby. What are you doing at the moment, bro?
At the moment, we're part of the Raukawa basketball makeup. So just supporting in administration and management kind of stuff, and just supporting our iwi liaison, who's done a fantastic job with our basketball. I think last year we had 8 teams. This year we've got 12 teams entered in the National Māori basketball comp. And also went to Ames games of Tokoro Intermediate girls team, my granddaughter's team, and they had an opportunity to go and be part of something that's, you know, huge with Ames games. So yeah, really had a good time there.
I want to ask you too, I'm glad you brought that up, Ames games, coaching girls teams.
Yep.
Now, I've sort of coached girls teams all my life. They're very different from boys teams.
Yeah, very different.
And a lot of people sort of don't get that. In a lot of cases, they think, oh, it's a girls team, it's easy to handle, easy to control, but that's far from the truth. What's your experience been like coaching girls teams?
Oh, I could give you a great example. One of the girls, and I won't mention any names, one of the girls was really upset one day, and we thought, oh no, she's upset because we haven't played her enough time, given enough time on court, or something about basketball. Got to the nitty gritty and had a good conversation, and it turned out she liked the boy that another girl liked from another team that they hadn't even talked to. So it was all about someone else and not even part of our what we were doing there. So
I love that.
I mean, that just you wouldn't even think that in a boys team.
No.
But also too, from my experience of rugby. So when I was coaching my niece's team, and it just happened to be the Waikato secondary school's girls team. I think it was one of our first games, and it was against Wellington. And getting ready for the game, and the girls were going into the changing room. And then I was outside talking to, I think, one of the other coaches. And then I walked into the change room, and looked up, and I thought, the girls were getting changed. And I was thinking, I don't think I'm supposed to be in here. Yeah, so.
Oh, here we go. My man.
I love Nexus.
Nexus, sponsor of Podcast Episode 3. I'm a Lime, brother. I'm a Lime. I love this. Lime, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. My man. Ooh, we've got to be able to taste this.
I don't know.
Taste the lime.
Taste this. Oh, man, you can tell that's a good...
Heavy, eh?
Good, it's heavy, bro.
Heavy, eh?
That's a good
That's
milkshake.
how you tell it's a good milkshake, when it's nice and heavy. Hey, thanks to Nexus, sponsors the podcast episode
Unless it's
3.
got some stones in it.
Hey, you can tell this isn't trim milk because it's nice and heavy, eh? It's nice and heavy. Oh, love it, love it. Oh, look at that. Oh, got to have some more.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so there are many challenges coaching girls, and as you mentioned, sometimes nothing to do with basketball, but I suppose those are the challenges we face, and that makes us plan things and put barriers and solutions in place so we're able to look after our young female athletes.
So, look, one of the other big things too when I was coaching girls rugby was girls need to go to the bathroom more often, because they're catching balls and getting tackled in certain ways, and it just plays with their bladder. So I thought, what the heck? Because the girls get them coming up, I need to go to the toilet. And I just kind of thought, well, that's actually a big thing, for the girls. And it kind of made me think about some of the other things that, female athletes we need to be wary of as coaches.
Definitely. And speaking about your granddaughter's team, I forgot to ask you, grandkids, how many grandkids do you have, brother?
three grandkids, yeah.
Oh, man.
Three.
You look young for a grandfather, bro.
Hey,
you look
Thank
young,
you.
bro. Look young. You look young. Obviously, your boy plays a bit of sport too, and you're involved with his sport?
Yeah, look, as they're growing up, to guarantee that they're participating at a good level and making sure they're in there, I just decided that I want to coach him and help him and create some good memories for him and his friends. So yeah, he came through playing rugby and league. Had an awesome league experience with the Pacific Sharks when he was growing up, and then he left for Hamilton Boys High at 13. Yeah, so yeah.
I want to ask you about challenges, because I know, when you coach your children, there definitely are challenges, especially when they're female. What are the challenges like with sons, Joe?
I think it's not the boys that are the challenge, it's the parents. That's the challenging things, because the parents, sometimes, we have parents who really want to be helpful and really want to have more say, and actually it's not, they shouldn't be involved in some of the decisions as coaching and management, blah blah blah. So yeah, it's actually the parents, not the boys.
Obviously, I know parents are always quite vocal. Parents have plenty to say on the sideline and maybe in social media. What are you, are there any sort of skills that you have to sort of manage that when parents get a little bit too OTT, brother?
Not really. I think for me it's just all about honesty and integrity and tika and pono, and just making sure that your perspective is about the truth and about moving forward, and try and find a resolution to how they're feeling, how you're feeling, but making sure that they understand that you come from a place of truth rather than anything else. Yeah.
Me.
So that's the only kind of thing that I kind of base my coaching on is if your son needs support, if they need to do stuff, I need to tell their parents or tell them that, this is what you need to do. You need to do this, and this, and to work on or your work on. So,
I'm a pretty psycho coach, bro. Do you have that gene in you? You know, where sometimes you just, you know.
I've been really lucky to be mentored by some really good proactive educational kind of coaching. So trying to get the best out of your players. And I felt that, the way I used to coach was exactly like that, the psycho of rah, 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 rah. But more, I found like AJ Purnell and he's like, and Noro Manu and Willie Ford and Tama Teokotai, man, they've been a huge influence in the way that I've coached. Yeah.
Mean, bro. Bro, let's move across to culture. Now, I know you love your culture. You love being Cook Islander. And, whatever else you got on, whatever other cultures you got on you. I see in a few clips, you play the drums there a little bit, Tell us a bit about your culture and what you enjoy.
Oh, to be honest, growing up, playing rugby, playing league, playing everything else, didn't really have that culture except for when I was at church, and that was when I was, up to 12. And it's not since I've come back to Teokotai, got married, and then started getting back into church and the culture. Just picking it back up then. Just very lucky to be brought up in it here in church. Because like every year we have our Opo, and growing up in our church, that's what you get pretty much 5 days a week.
Hard out. And it's funny too, because I also remember growing up as an Aitu, we're not allowed to dance.
Yeah.
But I couldn't figure out why a lot of dance contests I went to, Aitus were the best dancers. And I used to think to myself, must be a lot of closet dancing going on here, eh? Because it definitely doesn't happen in our, but it's it's cool sort of learning a culture, knowing where you come from. I've got to be honest, one of my dreams is always wanting to know how to play the drums. I just can't do it, man. I don't have that. I don't have that or that flick in the wrist. I just always, it's awesome to watch though, especially when you see our young kids coming through.
Yeah.
Playing the drums and how quickly they go. People have tried to explain to me how it works, but I can never get it, man. I just can't. I'm probably the base one I can, but hey.
I think it's just like anything. More practice you have, the better you get. But just lucky that we can just participate in different events during the year and just get into practices and and just lucky, bro.
Coming up this weekend too is Araura weekend. So obviously Teokotai will come to a standstill again throughout the course of the weekend. I did mention just before we went to air with podcast 3, we talked about the first Araura Day, and I know it's evolved as we've gone along.
Yeah.
I still have some pretty cool highlights of old Auntie George playing euchre. She told me when we played, I said, hey, no reneging it, guys. She said to me, I never renege. You know what she did? Her next move was a renege. True story. But awesome to sort of play euchre, play pool, enjoy Araura Day. What do you enjoy about Araura weekend?
I think for me it's about understanding where we come from and some of the different names, the different villages, what some of the villages are renowned for, and where those villages are in Aitutaki, what some of the motu's names are, because sometimes people who have been there take it for advantage that everyone knows about it, but some of our kids just they don't know anything. So I think it's just learning about who you are and some of the identity things that we talk about.
It's funny, there's some really cool stories about Aitutaki, and I suppose until you actually go there and you embrace, the culture and the way they live life, then you sort of understand how some of the stories come about.
Oh, yeah.
And I know my dad used to have plenty of stories about Aitutaki, and a lot of times I used to think to myself, "Bro, this guy for real?" Like, does this actually happen? Like, and then it's funny as our older generators sort of pass away and go to their rest. You hear all these stories and you start to think, oh, they're actually true. They're actually true stories. And then I start to embrace them, like, oh, I want to hear that story again, because my dad used to tell me that story, but I never used to think it was true, or just think, oh, stop it, But yeah, it's a beautiful place. Fantastic stories coming out of Aitutaki, and I suppose, it wasn't until I went there and embraced it and thought, Dad used to tell me, we're called Hollywood because that's where all the good-looking people come from. Until I got there and I realised,
that's right.
Vaipai's on the hill, so it's Hollywood on the hill. But let's just add in there, that's where the good-looking people come from. You know what I mean? It's crack up, bro.
When I went back to Hollywood, I met we were out one night and my cousins introduced me. Oh, this is 20 or 30 years ago. This is Jane Fonda. And if you know Jane Fonda, she's like an actress.
Yeah.
And I was going, what? She's from Hollywood. I was thinking, what? But, I mean, they name people after different actresses and actors from Hollywood, and that's their name.
True story, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but true story, bro. My dad wanted to name me Dick Tracy. See.
I've heard the story.
Bro. True story, bro.
I've heard the story.
So these people from Hollywood who want to name their kids after actors and people from Hollywood. True story. It's a true story.
Yeah.
But all I ever wanted to do when I went back was have a photo under the sign, under the sign, and just think,
So my family is renowned for the motorbike my grandfather and grandmother rode, and it was called a Solex electric bike. So, of course, my grandmother's name was Mama Solex, and my grandfather's name was Papa Solex. Everyone in Aitutaki knows, oh, who are you? Oh, Mama Solex's grandson. Oh. So, yeah, it's funny.
Even my auntie, Captain Bly, I'm just like, say your name, auntie. She's named Captain Bly. Don't tell me the story. No doubt I'll. It's cool though, bro. I mean, I suppose it's like Samoans, when they come to New Zealand, they come here with names this long, but then they end up with Rex, Sam.
What's your name? Greg.
That's Jeff. What they're famous for, taking big long names, and then and my cousin Jeff. Hey, I don't know how you turn Sefo into Jeff. Because I know Sefo in Samoan is not Jeff. But, hey, it's cool things, cool little things that different cultures do. And, there's plenty of that going on in little old Tukoro, It's a little hub of culture here. Bro, let's talk about some of the other things you do, man. You're like on so many boards. Where do you find the time, brother?
So I'm in the community organisation grant scheme. So that's Department of Internal Affairs. I'm chairperson for that. So we give out small pockets of funding to community organisations in the Waikato South area.
Wow.
So not specifically South Waikato, but south of the Waikato. Yeah.
I like that. South of the Waikato. Oh, I like it, bro. Did it take up a bit of your time? Must?
Yeah. More so when we're meeting to decide on who's going to be allocated funding. But, there's a lot of lead-up work and that we have to make sure we do to allocate funds appropriately.
All right, bro. Any other boards? I know you're on the radio board. How's that?
Yep. Raikoa FM, Raikoa Vibes now. Look, we're at an exciting crossroads with our radio station, and of course we've transitioned into Roko Vibes. And actually the word vibe kind of is the right word to how the station feels and the feeling behind it. The new opportunities that you've looked at and implemented into our mahi at Roko Vibes. It's huge. It's a fantastic place to be in, and it's given us a launchpad into into a new era of radio.
Definitely. So different these days, the era of radio. It's about this. It's about videography. It's about and it's cool. You gotta go with the platforms that are out there. You got to go with what people want to see, and you just got to keep stepping up. So loving it. Any other boards you're on, bro?
With the basketball. Yep, with the our Raukawa basketball crew. There's another couple of other boards that I represent on. So there's a bit of a health board, a couple of boards that I'm on. I can't even remember the names of them.
busy man, brother.
Oh, the Consumer Council. So we look at high level issues around consumerism and how we access and if our services are appropriate or if they're working well, and what do we do at a high level to make sure that those services are working.
All right, bro. Let's get to I suppose the here and now. Council. When did you decide to or want to put your forward name to become a councillor? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I'd been asked a few times, and SWPIX, I'm on the SWPIX board as well. We had some discussions, and I spoke to Akerere, who's the CE, and we talked about some of the opportunities there. But I didn't really want to be on council, but I had a discussion with Julius, who was the YMCA general manager, who was looking to go on council, and I thought, council's for me, it's about numbers and getting across the line, and who your friends are, and making sure that political and bureaucratic decisions are made. But if you have partners, it's a lot easier. So I was just lucky enough to scratch through to be on council, and then Julius, he didn't get on, which is it was one of the saddest days. I couldn't believe it. That I would have thought that I would be like below him and he'd be on council. So yeah,
I suppose it comes down to, and I always say it a lot, brand recognition. You've been around a bit, bro. You've been in our community a bit. You've done quite a fair bit, so it doesn't surprise me. But I always know in positions like that, it does come down to how well your name is recognised in our community. And if we're to look at people who vote, and I mean, it's still very lopsided. A lot of our people don't vote. So amongst the 45% of eligible voters that voted, if you were to break them down demographically, you definitely connect with that group that came out and voted, bro. So
it's funny that it seems like with the statistics that voted, they're of an older generation and they're of European descent, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, oh definitely. And I know Josiah. I vote for him. But
I was very lucky.
In saying that, Julius has got plenty of years to come, plenty of time to sort of make his mark. I suppose getting over the initial shock, has it sunk it in yet?
Yeah. Look, we've had several meetings at council, so yeah. Unfortunately, the real council meeting, I was sick.
Yep.
I didn't have COVID. I was hoping I had COVID, but I didn't have COVID. I just had that bad flu
yep.
that a lot of people had, and didn't test positive for COVID. So Yeah, I didn't attend my first council meeting, but there's always other meetings that lead into. Yeah.
How was that anyway? How was that sitting in meetings on South Waikato District Council? I know people always think, oh, Josiah's in there, I'll just ring him up, he'll be able to do something about it.
Yeah.
Is it really that simple? I suppose for me, I don't think it is, but for the people watching, is it really that simple? Or you know, what is the go? How simple is it?
Yeah, I've only been in there for a couple of months, but from my limited experience, actually going through the process that the council has, that's probably one of the best ways to deal with issues. And they have, if you go into their their website, you'll see that there's what the process is, and following that process, it keeps the council updated, and the person who's making that concern raised.
What's your fellow councillors like to get on with? Is there a connection there? Do you have to pick a team like everyone says you go in?
No. From what I've heard, council now is a lot different to what it was, and we're very lucky that at the moment we get on really well. We have some really good discussions, and we've got good relationships.
Yeah. Where do you see our district heading in the next term anyway?
In the next term?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're building our infrastructure. We're rebuilding and making sure that in time we'll have the infrastructure that we need for new families to come into Tokorua or the South Waikato in general.
Right. Man, it sounds like you're crazy busy, bro. Crazy busy all the time. You got family on the go. You're doing sport. You're here. You got the council. Man, your wife must really love you, bro.
Oh, she makes sure that I'm looked after. I'm very lucky. Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, you got to have. People don't realise you got to have. The support of your wife and your family behind you. Otherwise, you're unable to. Unable to help anyone else, bro. And do you try to find time for yourself, bro?
Oh yeah. We were away last weekend at a concert, Josh the Toffee. It was fantastic. But we stayed at a place called Buckland's Beach Motel. So if this was our motel, the beach would be at the crossing. So,
right.
The shirt comes off, the shorts are on, and I'm walking to the beach for a swim. Then I get out of the beach, jump in the swimming pool, and then have a swim, and then, mate, that's how awesome the place was that we stayed at.
Man, that's awesome. And it is important too, when you're that busy to find some time for yourself, bro, and find time for your wife and your family. And no doubt, brother, you're doing a fantastic job there. Where do you see yourself? What were you saying?
No. I think one of the biggest things though is having the support of good people around me, like my wife, but also my siblings, my children, and supporters and friends who have been there by my side, forever. So very lucky. Yeah. Very lucky.
Where do you see yourself in 6 months, 6 to 12 months, bro? Where do you see yourself this time next year?
Probably off a few of the boards, but just sticking with the council and just really getting into the nitty gritty around how we can work effectively, efficiently within our treaty obligations, within our financial constraints, and how we can fine-tune a better South Waikato.
I like that, bro. It's been cool to catch up. I mean, a lot of people, if you don't know, we've sat on a few shows together and had a bit of fun, and again we're catching up this way, and it's good to see and support what you're up to, bro, and what you're doing, and you're doing a fantastic job out there in our community, brother, and you're out there representing,
Yeah.
and we need people like you to represent the people, and we need our type of people in all sorts of different spaces, bro. Because that's what it's all about. Oh, look at this food. Look at this food. Oh,
No, thank you.
The BODGAST, episode 3, proudly brought to you by Nexus.
Is there any salad with it?
Hey. No, I think this is their healthy, low calorie option. That looks fantastic.
Beautiful.
And we're going to tuck into that in just
Thank you,
just a
Nexus.
moment. Thank you, Nexus. Hey,
So good.
Sponsors. Bro, before we wrap it up, just want to ask you a couple of questions.
Yep.
Couple of light-hearted questions. What do you enjoy as a person? I'm not going to play a game with you because we really know all these games.
We made up the games.
Yeah, I know, bro. I know. We've got to do something a little bit different.
I'm scrunching my toilet paper.
What's one thing you enjoy, bro?
I think just spending time with whānau,
Yep.
having some real honest discussions around what we want to achieve as a whānau or individually. Yeah, really love just spending time with my wife and our friends. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you a couple of truthful questions just to end the podcast. Have you ever been to a strip club?
Yes.
I
Yes.
like it. Do you remember the name? No. Okay. If you could go to a strip club, have the opportunity, no strings attached, is there one you'd like to check out?
No. Well, I'm too old for that.
That's all right.
Charisma. I was at a strip club.
Charisma. I've been to Charisma too. I used to go there and try out their hot and cold.
Thought I saw you up
Hey,
there.
Deep Sparkle. Is that you, Joe? Oh, check, mate. High fives.
Can you keep it down? Can you keep it down in the next room?
Charisma. Hey, so how to our producers over there thinking, charisma? What's charisma?
What's charisma?
Hey, you need to be of that age to know what charisma was. Do you enjoy a beer or a wine, brother?
Both.
Both? All right. Steak meal or seafood meal?
Steak meal.
Are you a medium rare steak guy?
Yeah.
Yeah? No other way, eh?
No.
No other way.
Not
No
anymore.
other way.
No.
If you could travel to a country around the world, which country would that be and why?
Italy.
Italy.
Because my wife wants to go to the Vatican. Yeah.
Italy, eh? And if there's one thing you could change in Tokoroa, what would it be?
Just to be a thriving community that connects and is a beautiful place to live.
Awesome. Well, my brother, I can smell the food, it's smelling divine. I've already finished my lime milkshake. Compliments of the sponsors, Nexus. I've already finished it. Nothing left. We're going to tuck into our meal. But, brother, I just want to say, man, awesome having you on the podcast this week, episode 3. Appreciate your time, bro. Appreciate what you're doing. And, we just want to wish you all the best for the year, what's about to come, and let's catch up again soon, all right, brother?
Yeah, let's do that, man. It's been a privilege and an honour to be on the podcast. I watched Tinga's podcast. Oh, man, what a dude. He's an awesome guy. I've always kind of watched him as a young fella coming through because I coached Noima as one of our girls in our rugby team, in the Waikato rugby team. And I really watch with interest because she's a real motivating kind of person, no nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, she'll tell you what's what, and sometimes you just really need those kind of people to help you along. So and AJ too. Man, he's a stand-up guy, and what he's done for our community, for our touch community, and for our community as a whole. So
to be honest, it's Tinga's laugh for me, eh? It's that laugh. It's that laugh, eh? I've got to tell him to stop mowing the lawn without a shirt. That's what that laugh was about, bro, just to be honest. Hey? It was about mowing the lawn without a shirt.
You never know who's watching you.
Hey, you just never know. On that note, my brother, my man, thank you, man, for joining us on the podcast. We're going to tuck into this. And to all our vibers up there in Vibeland, this has been episode 3 of the BODGAST, proudly brought to you by Nexus Tokoroa. Don't forget they're open 7 days a week. Come and check them out for lunch, brunch, or just a munch. And again, my thanks to my man, Mr. Josiah Teokotai, for joining us today. We'll be back next week where we catch up with another special guest. Watch out for it, episode 4, the BODGAST, Dr. Fresh. Till then, Peace.
Podcast. Podcast, Dr. Fresh.